So in the previous episode I showed you how you can create a simple Vue.js application using LoopBack and Vue. But the problem we had there was that whenever we add some data to our LoopBack, we actually lose that data every time we restart the server. So it would go something like we do just node dot, start up our server, then go to Explorer. We have this post type right here. We just go to post, add something right here. We can just leave it as it is, try it out. As you can see, if we go to API posts, now we have this data right here. Now, if I just go right here and exit out of my server, start the server again, refresh this page, as you can see, we have nothing in here. This is because our data source is currently set to be memory. So whenever we start the server, that data is going to be lost. So in this episode, I'm going to show you how you can install SQlite connector to your application so that your data would be saved. We are going to use SQlite database. It may be better to use MySQL, MongoDB or something like that, but SQlite is just a file and anybody can install it. So even if you are on Windows, on Linux, wherever, you will always have an access to the SQlite database. So that is what we are going to be doing in this tutorial. So to set your source, your data source to be SQlite, you need to install SQlite connector. And you have one right here. So on the npmjs.com site, you have LoopBack connector SQlite. And of course, you would just install it by npm install LoopBack connector SQlite. So to do that, we would just paste this in and install that plugin. Okay, so once this is done, we need to create our database files. As I already said, SQlite3 is just a file-based database. So I will just do touch datastore.sqlite3. We are just going to call it datastore. Okay, and now you have to create that new data source. And to do that, you would just do lb data source. And now it's going to ask us for our data source name. We are just going to call it SQlite DS. And now you can choose from already pre-configured databases that LoopBack comes with. Since you don't have SQlite here, you would choose other. But as you can see, you have all sorts of IBM's data storage. Since LoopBack is actually maintained by IBM, I forgot to mention that in the first video. You have Cassandra, Redis, MongoDB, MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, Microsoft SQL, REST services, SOAP services, and so on. But we are searching for other. And now it's going to ask us the connector's module name. So that is going to be LoopBack. LoopBack connector SQlite. So that's the module that we just installed. And it's going to ask you if you want to install it again. We of course don't want to do that because we just installed it. But you can do this in reverse and start this command first. And then the LoopBack will automatically install this module for you. But we don't want to do it right now. So no. And that's it. So now we have to go to datasources.json. And if you check out the documentation, it says that you need to set the file name for your database. So if we go to data sources, so in server data sources JSON, as you can already see, we have this SQlite DS. The name of our database is SQlite DS, and we just need to set up a file name. And that file name is going to be datastore SQlite3, which we just created. Okay. Now, after that, we need to go to model config.json and set up our actually our models to use a database we called SQlite3. So I'm just going to copy this, and for user we want to use that database, for access token also, for ACL, for role mapping. So this is all the things that we get out of the box with LoopBack, also role, and this is our post that we created in the previous episode. So we want them all to use SQlite database. We save this. Okay, now let's just try to start our server again. Okay, check this page out. Try to create a post. And as you can see, we get an error. So the error has the status code of 500 and it says it's an SQLite error, no such table as ACL. So to add posts, we also need our ACL tables, and we also need our post tables and so on. So we don't have any of that in our SQlite3 database. So to get around that, we need to install a plugin called LoopBack migration tool. So npm install loopback migration tool. Now once this is installed, we need to migrate all the tables, all the models from our DB, so the memory database, to the SQlite database. And how do we do that? Well, you just use loopback migration tool and you do lb migration, migrate. So you choose the database that you wanna transfer your models from, and then you define the database that you wanna transfer your models to. So our database is going to be DB, and SQlite DS is going to be our target database. And as you can see, models to migrate were user, access token, ACL, role mapping, role, and post. Okay, great. So now let's try this out. Okay, refresh this page. Try to create another post. Try it out. And as you can see, we get the response code 200. We get the title, content, and ID. Great. If we go to our API, we have that data right here. Okay, now let's do the real test, and that is going to be to exit out of our server and start our server again. Okay, refresh this. And as you can see, our data is still here. So now we are using SQlite to store all of our data, and whichever data we create is always going to be right here. And also if we go to our first page, you can see that this is the data that we are getting. So every time now that we save the data, you're going to get this. Okay guys, so this has been it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you loved it and like the content on my channel, please subscribe to it. If you want to ask me questions, you can do that via the social media. And if you want to send some money my way, you can use the Patreon page for that. And if you already are a patron, thank you very much. As I said in the previous episode, good things are coming for you. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.